see, I used to get this stuff, and I have a chain link fence. I just got the paint colors, the 2 colors that's on there. Just get rid of it. They come back and look, and they'd be done. They just got tired of coming back.
Woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. Could not go back to sleep.
It's terrible.
Gee.
Up at 5:30. Sometimes that's when I go to sleep. So
I was actually overheated. I thought it would be colder than that, and I pulled an extra cover on. I think that was part of what woke me up. I don't know what was going on. Now I'm going to be zapping. I'm going to be ready for a nap. I can get one.
Good morning. Welcome to the October 6th Tulare County Board of Supervisors meeting. Would you please stand with me as we salute the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Our first item of business today is to have a presentation, and board members have a handout in front of you at the dais as well. I'm going to do a little bio. Rarely do this. Our presenter this morning talking about National Physician Assistance Week is Adam Marks, who is the president, San Joaquin Valley College class of 2010. He is also the son of our Health and Human Service Agency employee, Kevin Marks. Well, they're sitting so far apart. He's also the student representative for the state's Physician Assistance Organization. So it's a pleasure that I would call up this time for his short presentation, Mr. Adam Marks. And you can use either or. It looks like you're set up to do a PowerPoint there.
Great, thank you. The mission statement of the SJVC Primary Care PA program is to educate and train students to become competent, compassionate primary care physician assistants who practice medicine and other healthcare services with the supervision of a licensed medical doctor. The SJVC PA program is committed to helping improve healthcare for rural, multicultural, and ethnically diverse, underserved populations of the San Joaquin Valley. To date, our program has successfully graduated 5 PA classes. Of those 5 classes, over 50% go on to practice in primary care capacity, and on average, 86% practice in the Central Valley. Our program takes pride in these statistics. The rural communities of the San Joaquin Valley are the forefront of the healthcare debate in California. We are committed to providing quality care to those who are in desperate need of healthcare services. During the week of October 6th through 12th, the students of the San Joaquin Valley College PA program take time out of our curriculum to recognize those PAs who are busy providing services to the communities in Tulare County and across the Central Valley. On page 2 of your handout, I have included activities that our students have planned for PA Week. During this week, we will go out to various rural clinics and provide breakfast to the PAs and office staff who are working there. On Thursday and Friday, we have guest lecturers come in and talk to our students about loans, scholarships, as well as various professional organizations in which students and practicing PAs can get involved in. Along with the presentations, we also recognize outstanding practicing PAs from around the Valley with our LAMP Award, which stands for Leadership, Advocacy, Mentorship, and Professionalism. This year, on Thursday, we're going to honor Benito Rivas, a PA who has dedicated his career to bettering the healthcare services in the small town of Orosi. To wrap up this year's PA Week, we are offering continuing medical education course on our campus put on by faculty and students, which will be offered to licensed PAs in the San Joaquin Valley. As I continue my training as a PA, I continue to gain a sense of perspective on the outstanding community of professionals in which I'm about to join. I'm amazed at the impact that the profession has on both individuals and communities, especially here in the Central Valley. In 10 months, as I make the transition from student to medical provider, I will do my best to carry on the current traditions set by my predecessors and provide compassionate and quality health care to those in need here in Tulare County. Lastly, I would like to thank the Tulare County Board of Directors and Chairman Cox for the willingness to work with the SJVC PA program to create this proclamation for PA Week 2009. Lastly, I'd like to introduce my PA program director, Les Howard. Les is a longtime PA who graduated from USC. He started the Riverside program and the San Joaquin Valley College program, and he has been faculty at USC and Drew. You guys have any questions?
Do we have any problems with USC grads?
No, they got a good football team, though.
Are there any questions? Great. I guess being the father of but if you will meet and by we just use butterflies at my house. Meet me down at the well here. It gives me a great honor to present you with this proclamation declaring October 6th through 12th as, it doesn't say national, it's National Physicians Assistant Week in Tulare County. So thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
No rest for these guys. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item of business is public comments. If there's anybody wishing to address the board on an item that is not on today's agenda.
Chairman, that was an action item. We need to take action.
I passed right over that. It's on my script. So we need a motion to approve the proclamation.
Second.
Motion by Vanderpool, seconded by Ennis, and it's unanimous. Thank you for keeping us straight, Michelle. Okay, our second item of business today is public comments. If there's anyone wishing to address the board on an item that is not on today's agenda but on our preview, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Is there anybody wishing to speak to the board during public comment? Seeing none, we will move to board. Pardon me? Oh, if you would, step forward and.
This is new to me. I've never done this before.
Okay,
So
well, your name and address for the record, and we'll tell you if you're in the right place.
Barbara Bentley, 31424 Road 132. And it's about the homeless living on the river with the tents. And on 3 different occasions, we've nearly run into them traveling over the bridge there because they ride their bikes. Then they have their bags full of whatever. And they turn in front of us, and it's usually at dusk or darker. And also, in the past 5 years, we've had 3 break-ins, and one girl was actually in the house with a knife, and my granddaughter happened over, and of course, terrified her as well as the family. But I don't know, is this going to be addressed here?
I can tell you, ma'am, we are addressing that. There was a special meeting held last week with law enforcement agencies, our Health and Human Service agencies, who have actually been on site several times, offering assistance, offering a place to stay. So we are addressing that at our level, and we do want to make that known. And we are working on an editorial piece for the paper to let them know what we have been doing, because we have been working on this for quite some time. It just made the newspaper here a couple of weeks ago, but we've been working on this for quite some time. The people that are sitting right behind you are actually the people that have been out there walking through the the weeds in the camps, offering services to those folks. So we are addressing that and trying to work with the city of Visalia to address their concerns as well.
Okay, so do I just leave now and then?
If you'd like any other information, we've got your name and address. We can have one of our aides. Did we get the address, Michelle? So we can have, if you'd like, we can have one of our aides get a hold of you and let you know about things that are going to be happening in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
If you'd like that, we'll do that. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the public? Yes, ma'am. Come forward, and you feel free to use either microphone. This one's closer to you. And please, your name and address for the record.
It's Carrie Rubel. My address is 524 East Oak Ridge Court. And mine also is having to do with the homeless up there because they seem to be moving in on a permanent basis. I live in that area. I'm very concerned about that. They go through our trash cans every week. And there's different faces. The more often, the more that come in. And I understand that there's a big congregation of people. I've heard that they're coming in from other cities to live there. I have a concern being in that area that they would be allowed to remain. I don't know how it's being addressed exactly, but...
Did you receive my email yesterday? Are you the one that emailed me?
I did email you.
Okay.
No, I did not get it.
Okay. I returned a message. Within an hour, I returned an email to you, and there's a lot of your answers in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move to Board of Supervisors matters. Supervisor Vanderpool.
I just would like to extend congratulations on a job very well done. The flu clinics that were offered last week, the flu shot clinics that were offered, really went very well. I went through the one at the International Agri Center myself, or the Heritage Complex in Tulare, and it was a very smoothly run function, and there were an awful lot of people there, and I know that you exceeded your expectations, so congratulations on reaching out and really letting the people know the services that were available to them. I know there were, I want to say, I think it was about 700 in Tulare that took advantage of that service, so thank you very much.
Supervisor Worthley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last Wednesday, I was with a group of people who met as a member of the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. We met with the Bay Area Governing Board and also Sacramento and some of the smaller air districts in Northern California. What I wanted to report was one piece of good news is that they were able to put together about $22 million to upgrade trucks in the Port of Oakland. We all know we have a transport issue of pollutants that come from the Bay Area into the San Joaquin Valley, so every time they can do things to improve the air quality there, it has a benefit to us. And then also, of course, a lot of the trucks that are servicing the Port of Oakland would find their way down through the San Joaquin Valley, so to the extent they are or reducing their emissions, that's a benefit to us as well. So the idea was to try to find things that we might do find things that we might have in common to work together to try to deal with issues that would hopefully benefit both districts or both areas of California. So it was a good meeting, and I'm glad I went.
Thank you. Supervisor Sheila.
Last Wednesday and Thursday, I attended the San Joaquin Valley Council of Governments Policy Committee. Paul Boyer and myself represent Tulare County. During the Policy Committee, we discussed the issue of water. And the Policy Committee is 8 counties from San Joaquin County to Kern County. And we are going back to our Council of Governments, or in our case, TCAG, asking the members of our individual county boards, are we going to actively participate in the water issue? And it's a large issue, and this is not something that other Council of Governments have not done in the past. A lot of states, the Council of Governments take a more active role. So we'll be presenting that to the TCAG board, and from that recommendation we'll go back to the Policy Committee. Also, we talked about short-haul rail. And short-haul rail, by unanimous decision, will become a major lobbying effort on the part of all 8 counties. Which the one thing that Supervisor Worthley talked about is Port of Oakland, but we also have Port of Stockton, and the mayor of Stockton and the people in that county are very interested in adding short-haul rail to move goods from their port, and that's all I have.
Supervisor Ennis.
Yes, last week Representative Nunes and Senator Feinstein worked together to get the wording put into the energy appropriations bill to hopefully go ahead and buy the 24 parcels below Lake Success, which amounts to about 235 acres. We hope this moves forward. Right now it's in the appropriated whether or not the money will be going forward. I'm not going to tell the people that it is, because I'm tired of the guy crying wolf all the time and telling you something's going to happen when it doesn't. But this looks like the best shot we've got at it. It's in there. If it goes forward and we can get past this independent committee, then we can go ahead and hopefully buy those parcels and get those people taken care of so they can go on with their life. So it's looking a little better than it has in the past. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick things. This Friday at 3:30 here in this building, the Step Up Planning Committee meeting for the March 10th Step Up Youth Summit will be held. Supervisors Sheeta and Vanderpool are the chair and vice chair of that committee. Tomorrow is the due date for the bids for the venue, and we hope that we'll have several venues to choose from. And one quick note, I'm sorry that the 2 ladies left on the homeless issue. I'm hoping this does not become a campaign headline or banner for folks in the city of Visalia, because these folks are in the county. We have been trying to address their needs for quite some time now. Services have been offered to those folks by our health care and welfare, mental health. There's a list as long as my arm, providers that have actually been there on site offering services to these folks. So we are trying to address this and have been for quite some time now. The answer is not to go out and drive them from place to place, but to try to get them stabilized. And the fact of the matter is, and I've been told by several of our providers, that the assistance that was offered was not accepted. The majority of those folks did not want assistance. They were happy living there in their tent where they were. Okay. We do have a consent calendar, items 5 through 25. Board, are there any items that need to be pulled by this board for separate consideration? Public desire to pull any of the items for separate consideration? See none, we'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Ennis, second by Worthley. Consent calendar is approved unanimously. Council, we have 10 minutes before our timed item. I know we have items A through D for closed session. Do we have time to go address a couple of those in the next 10 minutes?
H, your board has as the Board of Supervisors, and item B is also with the Tulare County Redevelopment Agency.
Okay, we're going to adjourn to closed session. We'll be back close to 10:30. Thank you.
9:30. I think so, Pete.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back in open session from closed session, and we have item number 4, which is a public hearing, a request from Resource Management Agency to consider the vacation of the alley east of Road 28 between those 2 streets. Mr. Fussell.
Good morning, Board. Britt Fussell, Assistant Director with the Resource Management Agency. And as the Chairman indicated, this morning is a public hearing to discuss the vacation of an alley east of Road 128, which is also State Route 63, lying between Avenue 414 and Risley Avenue in the community of Orosi. The request was submitted by Pastor Samuel Hernandez of the Christ, the True Vine Church, which abuts the alley to the east. A location map, site map. The alley that's requested for vacation is this alley right here. The church owns the property that is to the east of the alley. To the west of the alley is property that's owned by the county of Tulare. I believe it's being used. It's the old sheriff's substation that's now being used for the Arosi Step Up program. I believe this is a multifamily complex, and these are residential properties. Here are some pictures of the alley. This is looking north from Avenue 414. The church is the property that's over here to your right or the east. County property is over here on the left. Standing back across Avenue 414, you can see the church building. This is approximately midway in the alley looking south. Again, the church is now over here on the left-hand side of the screen, and the county property is on the right. And then this is actually looking south from Risley Avenue. You can see the residential property over here as well as residential properties over here.
Actually, I think the property to the north is Kimbo's Donuts.
I'm sorry?
Kimbo's Donuts is the property to the north of the county
right here,
property.
This property? Is that a, because it's zone C2. Another picture just shows some graffiti in the alley. The alley was originally dedicated by tract number 209 back in 1954. And the parcels on the west side are zone C2, and on the east side are R1, R2. It's about a 260-foot section of an unmaintained oil alley roadway. It's not in our maintained mileage system because alleys are not in the county's maintained mileage system. Concluded that this alley is not necessary for the present or eventual public use. There's access. All the parcels still remain having access to a public roadway should the alley be abandoned. And there are easements. If you noticed in some of the pictures, there was some telephone poles and some power poles. So easements will be retained for those facilities as part of this vacation process. Some of the legal aspects of the process. These proceedings are taken pursuant to the Streets and Highways Code, Section 8300 at SEC. Petition was filed in accordance with Section 8321. We published and posted notice pursuant to Sections 8322 and 8323. We had the planning staff take a look at general plan conformity required by Section 8313 of the Streets and Highways Code, found that the requested action is in conformity with the general plan, and we're holding the public hearing this morning in accordance with 8324. Staff's recommending the approval of vacation. And with that, I would respond to any questions that the board may have.
Chairman,
Questions? Yes.
Britt, I had a question. I looked at the material. I couldn't find it. When this is vacated, where does the property go? To which parcels will it attach?
On the north end of the alley would split in half, and half the alley would go to the properties on the west, and half the alley would go to the properties on the east. On the south end of the alley, the entire alley would go to the church property on the east, because it was that subdivision that dedicated the entire alley width. Prior to that subdivision recording in 1954, the county had already acquired the property that was to the west. So that wasn't part of the subdivision, and it's standard practice for the alley to go back to the property from where it came.
Right. Just couldn't find anywhere in the information, so thank you.
I just got one question. What do the utility companies think about this deal? Are they still going to be able to do the maintenance and stuff necessary on these poles and stuff once that's closed off?
They would have easement rights to do that, and in most cases the utilities don't even respond to us. We do inform them of this and elicit a response, and they don't respond. We typically don't hear from them, but an easement will be retained for them, so they will be able to access their facilities.
Most power poles around here in backyards anyway.
Right.
That's typical.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen situations over in the coast where they build these structures, and here's a power pole, and it's like 4 feet away from the edge of the ground. I'm thinking, how in the world they're going to get in there and replace that pole when the time comes? But they're there.
Any other questions?
Well, I share the same concerns about the service of these power poles. And I know that they don't respond very often because they probably don't really understand that if we extend the property lines and that alley disappears, what's their access into those lines?
Well, I think it's actually the sort of the property owners that have to beware. In other words, the having the right to go in there means they have the right to go in there. If that means taking down your fence or whatever to do that, they would have the authority to do that. So it's actually kind of incumbent on the property owners as they look at what kind of development they want to do, that they keep in mind that there is an easement for utilities to be able to come in there and service their utilities.
Well, they have the authority to do that now. And if you look, some of the poles are behind fences in yards already.
If you take a look at this, my mouse back, this pole right here, you can see there actually is a line running in the east-west direction across these rear lot lines. So in subdivisions that were done back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, where utilities were not required to be undergrounded, a lot of times the utilities were placed in the backyard in easements. In fact, my first house in Visalia was built in the 60s, and it had an easement down my rear yard line for power pole, telephone, and cable television, which was a product that came in after I was there, and they got in the backyard and was able to do their work.
Well, I would like to see a notice go out to these property owners to make sure they're aware of the easement. As far as I'm concerned, anytime we can get rid of an alley, I'm happy. So
we will, upon recordation of the resolution approving this, we will mail it to each of the property owners and include a notice in that we retained an easement for the utility companies. We can do that.
yes, I think that'd be adequate.
Any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to address the board on this issue, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Nobody wishing to speak to this item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for further discussion or action.
Chairman, I move approval.
I'll second.
Moved by Worthley, seconded by Ennis, and is unanimous. Thank you for attending today's meeting. Council, I know we do have a couple of items left on closed session.
Yes, sir, we do. I do not anticipate any announcements.
We will adjourn to closed session. Thank you for attending.